Hello, so this is my Q&Q number 9, I believe, if not number 8 or 10, about technologies of social justice, writing 428. So for this week for this class, we had 4 readings that we have to get done. And I guess the main thing I learned from all these 4 readings was the complacency in the government, both now and historically, in just going along, honestly, with really racist rhetoric and, law, not even complacency, just, what's the next level from complacency, I guess, ownership of racism and wrongdoing and oppression in general, and so I was fairly shocked, I guess, when I read the transcript of Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848, and the reason I was shocked was because I felt that the language in it was actually surprisingly inclusive, and seemed to actually be referring to people of Mexican descent as human beings. And considering some of the other stuff that we read in this class and some of the other stuff that I've been able to learn about American history in general, that by itself is very sadly pretty surprising. One quote specifically that stood out for me, in the said territories, so these are territories that previously were Mexico, but as a result of the war ended up being belonging to the United States. In the said territories, property of every kind now belonging to Mexicans not established there shall be inviolably respected. The present owners, the heirs of these, and all Mexicans who may hereafter acquire said properties by contract shall enjoy with respect to the guarantees equally ample as if the same belonged to citizens of the United States. And I'm here LOL, as if I mean that's not what ended up happening, and that's not what still is not happening. That's not the case at all. And I think back to the article that we read last class that was talking about the American dream and how important it is for us, pretty much for Americans to be to subscribe to a particular background, racial and language and religious background, and yet this treaty, and that article was written just a few years ago, but this treaty was written in 1848, and it seems to be very much of the idea that people of Mexican descent, so non-Anglo-Protestants, non-white Anglo-Protestants, should be still treated equally to Anglo-white Protestants, and that's interesting to me, because I feel like the U.S. in that treaty might have been on the right track, but I don't think that's really what happened. What is less shocking, but no less, I guess, terrible, or is the House Bill 2281, which is pretty much Arizona's way of saying, yeah, all y'all non-white people, get out. Or not even just get out, get whitewashed. Or, screw your culture, screw your background, screw your history, screw anything that does not appease and uphold whiteness in the state. And that is contradictory also to what I think the treaty was talking about in 1848, because you got stuff so Section 1, the legislator finds and declares that public school pupils should be taught or treated to value each other as individuals and not to be taught to resent or hate other races or classes of people. Okay, that sounds good. I like that. I approve that. A school district or charter school in the state shall not include in its program of instruction any courses or classes that include any of the following. And we go down to number 4. And number 3, are designed primarily for pupils of a particular ethnic group. And I'm here okay, that's great. So then you all are going to decolonize your history, right? And your education system, and we're going to learn more about more than just like, white people and white men in particular and their history and their achievements and their oppression. We're gonna learn more than that, right? Like, no, apparently not. Apparently, like, I just like I wrote in my last blog post about like, how I'm so over white tears, and this whole bill is just a testament to white tears. This is like just white people being so sensitive about even the discussion of something that is non-white or something that is resistant to whiteness and to oppression of whiteness and to white supremacy. And frankly, it's disgusting. And then we go to Critical Race Theory, The Cutting Edge, by... Who's this? Who wrote this? Oops. Sorry, I believe it was Hanley Lopez White. Yes, Hanley Lopez White. And his last few sentences really hit home for me. This whole article really hit home for me because as somebody who is of Iranian descent, I really struggle with whether or not I am white or not classified as white, and I have a lot of discussions with my family, and they're all like, well, we're Caucasian, like, that's white, like, Caucasian is white, and I'm like, I know that, but, like, like, I don't know if that's, like, racially we are white, and at the same time, like, it's just, like, it's such, like, I literally, like, I took a white privilege test once, and most people either get 0 as in they have no white privilege, or 20 as in they have they fit all the categories of white privilege. I was right in the middle. And I think that's really a testament to like how I guess tricky these like labels get, and yeah, I've had a tough time like fitting into like boxes, and it has been hard. But the last sentence: when confronted by the falsity of white identity, whites tend to not abandon whiteness, but to embrace and protect it. The value of whiteness to whites probably ensures the continuation of a white, self-regarded predicate of racial superiority. And I do have a direct example of this. I was recently on the selection committee for the next class marshal, and I was really honestly the only person who was asking questions like, what does diversity mean to you? Or, like, do you see race in your everyday life? How does you see that play out? And of course, we're interviewing 3 people of color and then 3 white people. People of color, you barely even have to ask the question. The issue of marginalization, the issue of diversity and inclusivity already is brought up. White people, you got little nudges. And then, of course, all of them want to be politically correct and not use the word race, so you'll get things like, well, I don't care so much about the people, more of the diversity of the ideas, and I'm like, oh, okay, bye. But I'm thinking about, like, there was one incident where I felt that a white candidate was very dismissive of the issue of race, and I felt that as a white man that was unacceptable. But there were other people on the board who were saying, yeah, but his academics is superior. You gotta understand he comes from a rural background. Like, he hasn't really engaged in these, like, conversations before. You have to give him some slack and stuff like that. And I was really, like, whoa. Way to get, like, defensive about this. And I really saw that, though. I think, like, the conversation of, like, academics, and the, like, like, to say that, like, somebody has worked really hard to get, like, their really high grades. Like, yes, of course, I'm not saying that they haven't. But somebody who is white has probably not encountered as many obstacles to their, like, success in academia as somebody who is not white and who carries with them a marginalized identity wherever they go. And there was just this, like, unwillingness to see that. And I realized that, when faced with, like, resistance to whiteness, these white people were actually protecting it and coming up with, every synonym in the book to do it in a way that didn't actually involve them saying, I'm a white person and I am protecting my privilege. And that was a very interesting relationship to have to go through. So I think, like, and when I read, like, the bill passed in Arizona, it makes complete sense to me, like, why this is happening. And then it also gets scary about how resistant the white community is to being able to unbox their race, and unbox whiteness. And I guess their unwillingness to own up to the fact that the idea of race was created so that white could be great, and like, put this group of people at the top of the hierarchy. So I guess, like, my questions for the day involve, like, in like, seeing it from a point of law. At the end of the day, are laws that marginalize certain groups just protecting whiteness? And is the history of the US, the oppressive history, really just about protecting this racial group? Thank you.